In this video I will show you how to set up the CAMMUS C5 wheel, explain the force feedback settings and give you some tips on the right settings to use with this wheelbase. They are universal and you can use them with any game. But first I have to mention the desk clamp for a second. People are complaining that the legs of the desk clamp bend when tightening up. This is by design and they come back when you remove the clamp. Just tighten it up properly so you have no flex in the desk clamp. Okay, so first thing you have to do when you connect and turn on the C5 is to do a firmware update. It is a straightforward process, so follow the instructions on the screen. You have to do it for wheel and base separately. To turn off the wheel, you have to hold the power button for 2 seconds. Just a tip. On the main screen you have a list of games you can start from the app, but you have to set the path to the game. I don't use that feature, but you can if you will. In the parameters, go to base settings and here we have the main force feedback settings to play with. You always want to have the power setting on 100%. Then you can adjust the strength in the game. You can lose force feedback details if you set it to less than 100% here in the app. The dampening is simulating shock absorbers and I always set this to the same value as natural friction. Natural friction is simulating the feeling of the steering and tires. The lowest setting is very loose and the wheel spins freely. This is not realistic and the steering wheel is not spinning like that even in the road car with the power steering. The higher you go, the harder it will be to turn the wheel. These two settings are game and car specific. On some cars you want to set it to at least 10 to 15%. The car will be more stable and sometimes you want both to leave on 0. I recommend trying it on 50% so you can feel what it is doing while driving. And then go down, you can do it in real time while in game. I usually don't go over 15%. Natural inertia is the return speed of the wheel. If you're racing on the road, leave it on 0, but for drifting and rallying you can try 100% and then go down if you don't like it. The idle spring is for returning the wheel to the center position, simulating the spring. So the wheel always returns to the center from any position. The higher you go, the faster it will return. I have this setting on 0% in every game. On the right you can save your force feedback settings for each game and car, which is very useful. You can also try settings from community members as well. The next step is game effects. This is a science by itself and you have to spend a lot of time tweaking it. I recommend to leave it as is. Effects intensity on 100% and the rest on 50%. I'm happy with these settings in every game and car. But you can try 0 and 100% for each filter and feel the difference. If you hover the mouse over the small eye next to each setting, it will show you the explanation of each filter. But I'm not going to waste your time with that. The last tab in parameters is assistance. Force feedback, invert, leave, off. This is useful for some games where you have an issue with inverted force feedback. This will fix the problem if you have it. I don't know what 2-in-1 steering wheel and base setting is. Let me know in the comments if you know what it is about. I have it always off. Hands-off protection set to enable for your safety. In case of a crash, the wheel will stay in place when you take your hands off the wheel. If you are drifting, you need to disable this feature. And stop strength set to medium. This is about how strong the stop will be when you reach the rotation limit of the wheel. The soft is too soft and hard is too hard for me. The medium is the most realistic one. High-speed damping assist is the enhanced setting of natural damping from base settings. If you leave the natural damping at 0% in base settings, here you can play with it and set it for higher speed. So the damping will increase with increased speed. I don't use it and I have it on 400 km/h, zero damping. I use only the natural damping in base settings and the game will do the rest. Down below you can set the temperature threshold for overheating protection. If the wheel reaches this temperature, it will reduce the force feedback. I have it on 80 degrees, but I have never seen the base go over 65 degrees during heavy usage. At the bottom you have explanation for error codes that can appear on the 3-digit display on the wheel. Now we can go to devices. You can change the steering angle, but I always have it on 1080 degrees for every game. Usually the game will adjust the angle if it's needed, and 1080 degrees should be enough for any car. You can set the center position of the wheel if it's off center, and in the middle you can see all the buttons so you can test them. In the dashboard tab are the settings for the rev lights and the display on the wheel. Unfortunately, you can set the brightness only for the display, not for the rev lights. You can customize the colors and save the presets, but you can also use the presets made by CAMMUS. I like to have 4 greens first, then 3 blue and 3 reds at the end. For the mode, the rev lights use percentage, so the wheel will be reading the percentage of the RPM from the game and translate it to the rev lights on the wheel. This works perfectly for every car and game I tried. Below that you have settings for the rotary encoders, so we will have to go back to steering wheel tab when you change it. The first setting is to use the rotary encoders as 2 position switches. If you turn the switch left, it will register it as 1 button and vice versa. The second option is to have it as 12 positions, so each position of the encoder will be a separate button, as you can see. At the bottom you can disable the beep that you hear when you turn on the wheelbase. So that's it. The app for CAMMUS is easy to use and I really like it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I hope you liked this video and I will see you in the next one.